Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you on this October 28th, 2025. I got all of your stories for your rush hour ride to work. We've got T from the contestant on the upcoming season of The Bachelorette. We'll get into that first things, and then we'll talk about some base jumping in Yosemite. I guess this is a benefit of the shutdown. No federal employees to tell you no. I guess it's a benefit as long as you can land okay. And then Miss Rachel being listed in a prominent magazine, Glamour. I'll explain why, what they have to say about her. Then more on the bailouts that are happening out there, the government shutdown, and a UFC fighter who's now releasing a video explaining why he is out of the MAGA movement. All these stories and more, it starts right now on The Rush. Now, if you've been with me for a long time, maybe from my bookshelf days or when I lived in a tiny 500 square foot apartment having my car battery stolen 5 separate times, yes, this is all true. If you're back from the original days, you know we were an exclusive Bachelor Nation only show. I recorded 3 episodes a day, just Bachelor content. Well, we've spread our wings. We've moved on to other things, mainly in the pop culture world, some politics, lifestyle things, whatever really feels like an interesting conversation. I want to bring it to you, but we haven't abandoned the niche. It's just, you can't have all your eggs in one basket, especially when that basket has very low ratings. But I'm here to tell you, when there is a story worth covering in the Bachelor world, I will cover it. Now, in the past, we've covered whenever there's, the launch of all of the new cast members, we've raced to the internet and did a live stream discussing it all. I'm here to tell you this. I'm going to let the market decide. If this video right here gets 100 subscribers by end of day, I will make a video analyzing the entire new cast of The Bachelorette. You guys just let me know. Do you want it or do you not? So again, that's the 100 subscriber mark, and we'll do that for you. But in the meantime, let's talk specifically about this tea that just came out regarding a cast member. So the next Bachelor, they're doing a leap year for The Bachelor. They're just abandoning The Bachelor right now. These dudes cannot pick a winner, so they're just like, they're done for now. So we're doing a Bachelorette season. They've got Taylor Frankie Paul from the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I just want to call it Real Housewives of Mormon Wives, but either way, it's an absolute hit show. It's a smart move to bring in someone from a different fan base, but it's already getting messy. Whenever they release the men, there's always people talking about, where this guy was, or he was texting me up until the day before he left. I'm going to listen to the evidence, and I'll let you guys know if he is problematic or not. But here we have a TikTok from Izzy Bell Johnson. She found, there are these Facebook groups where you can expose men if they're just a player. I love it. Ladies love a good Facebook group. You can go on Facebook Marketplace. You can meet a man. You can sell the engagement ring when you find out he's a creep. You can just do it all. Let's have a listen to the evidence about this upcoming contestant.
I have a good story. Watch this, okay? Taylor Frankie Paul, next season of The Bachelorette, plus Jersey Shore. Are we dating the same guy? Facebook group. Who doesn't love a Facebook group story drama?
Exactly. Love it.
Okay, insert the Facebook page. Are we dating the same guy? Jersey Shore, Atlantic City, South Jersey.
I love how simple are we dating the same guy? It's like, ladies, you used to want the red carpet rolled out for you. You want to be wined and dined. And now you're just like, please tell me, are we dating the same man? Oh, the bar has been lowered.
He'll be on The Bachelorette. Mike 36 Lavalette, they just dropped the Bachelorette cast. Yes, confirmed he's on it. All the comments are these girls saying that they found out he's cheating on them. He's talking to 6 girls at once. He's having sex with all of them. He's obsessed with sex. And literally, he's a liar. He's a sociopath. He's creep. Basically, Taylor Frankie Paul, this message is for you.
By the way, he's a liar. He's a sociopath. He would be great on the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, right? Now, I'm not saying they're all sociopaths, but isn't this the first accusation you make of somebody? And quite frankly, he probably is. It takes a special type of hubris to want to be on a dating show, so they have a way of picking some of the slimiest people out there. Not to mention, he's in a Jersey Shore, am I dating this guy Facebook group. There should be one of those like catfish style TV shows that's just the Jersey Shore, am I dating this guy? Are we dating the same guy Facebook group? But either way, you're allowed to date around. The question is whether or not he was lying and misleading people. That's what it comes down to. If you want to say, look, I'm going to date around, I'm not going to make it official with anybody, then it's like, pick your poison, deal with it. But if you're leading people on, then you're stealing their valuable time.
This guy has been messaging girls since the day before he left. He told one girl he's going to China for maybe 2 months.
All right.
China.
Okay. All right. Listen, I'm telling you, I'm listening to it for the first time, so don't get mad at me. I didn't know if it was going to take a turn like this. He's claiming he's going to China for 2 months. All right. Maybe there's going to be a little group date in China. We don't know yet, but that's a little misleading.
The Bachelorette. One girl realized she sent him a rose emoji. Part 2, I'm going through all the comments. I'm sorry to do this.
All right,
but
so then she does a part 2. Let's go to it. She's got all the comments. And this is funny, right? Because back in the day, you could date around. You know, our parents' generation, they all got away with having multiple families. I have a good friend who found out his dad had a family in another country, not China, but pretty close. And the point is like, men are dirtbags. Not all of us, but there's dirtbags out there. And if it wasn't for 23andMe, they'd be getting away with it. They did in the 80s and 90s. Now here we have Facebook groups that put an end to it.
If you guys don't know, these Facebook pages, all these girls will post these guys that they're seeing, and other girls will comment their experiences with the guys if they're talking to them, so girls can kind of figure out if they're being cheated on. I'm just in it purely for the tea. But this slid across my desk today, and this guy's going on The Bachelorette, and these are the comments that these girls are saying about him. Okay, here we go. So the first interesting comment is, LOL, that was literally Sunday, the day before he left for filming. And he goes, could be while sitting on my dick. Gross. She doesn't answer. She sends him a rose emoji because she figures out that he's going on The Bachelor. Good for her. Icon, yes. So that explains why we stopped texting. Not at all, jokes aside. I knew him in college. He was funny. He was nice, really sweet. Okay, so one good review. Someone should send this to her. That's me. Apparently he works at a law office. Been a while since I talked to him. Extremely sexual and doesn't seem to take no for an answer. Never met up with him because he was constantly pushing sex and asking for nudes. Good luck to these women. Dated this guy years ago. He's such a POS. Yeah, he is social media. Can someone drop his social media? I don't have that. He told me he was going to China for work and he wasn't sure when he'll be coming home. China, The Bachelor, I can see how you get them mixed up. And she freaking has the receipts. I'm going to China for work. She says, I mean, that's fun. He goes, can it be the south of France? And then basically he's maybe for up to 2 months, so you should go find a man. Just wanted to give you a heads up.
I mean, look, I'm not giving this guy credit at all. This is super slimy stuff. It is interesting, though, for the people we, our pal Cassie was on Clayton's season, and she was dating a guy right up until the second she left, and not casually seeing a guy. And you could make the argument, oh yeah, I'm just gonna F around with people until I'm no longer with somebody. I think that's fair. It really is the leading on part, and I think the only play you should have is look, I'm going to go on The Bachelorette and see if I can marry somebody. And if I come back single, I would love to continue dating you. Now, chances are all of the people you were dating, I mean, look, let's just be quite honest. It is a unique experience that you have to abandon the world you're in, turn your social media off for up to several months, and possibly come back single or engaged. It's very rare. But again, you also have to understand you might get exposed in the Jersey Shore, are we dating the same person category. So either way, good luck to Taylor. She's got a lot of winners to choose from. Again, hit the subscribe button if you want me to go over all of the men out there. Thank you, Isabel Johnson, for sharing all this good information. All right, let's go to Miss Rachel. From one influencer to another. Is she an influencer, content creator? Miss Rachel featured on the cover of Glamour, at least the digital edition. Let's see if they can put her in print. Put her in print. Women of the Year. Here's what Glamour Mag had to say. 6 years ago, Rachel Accurso was a stay-at-home mom with a baby on her hip and an iPhone camera, posting sing-song videos to YouTube to help her son through a speech delay. Now Miss Rachel is a household name. She's not just a streamer, she's a cultural flashpoint and a Glamour Woman of the Year at the link in bio. Read as she opens up about motherhood, the iconic children's TV show host that inspired her, advocating for children across the world. And that's what she has done. She gets a lot of shit because she was advocating for the innocent lives that were part of the collateral damage happening in Palestine. She gets a lot of shit for that. Why? Because people say, well, she wasn't advocating for the kids that needed help in other countries, but that's not true. She has made it known. She is here to help out innocent lives, and kids should not be starved, no matter where you live in this world, especially, not just especially in our country, but literally anywhere. And she has made so much money making YouTube videos as Miss Rachel that she didn't have to take a stand. She literally could have just retired and never shot another video and she'd be perfectly fine. She put her brand on the line to stick up for what she believed in. And for that, I am incredibly grateful that Miss Rachel follows me on Instagram. I mean, that's all it takes to win me over. No, seriously. This is someone with a spine. We need more people in government that have spines that actually stick up for what's right. We really do. All right, let's go to this. How about here we have CBS was covering the government shutdown. Base jumping is illegal in national parks, but since there is no ability to enforce that now that there's a government shutdown, I guess there's a new sport breaking out. Have a listen.
Never seen that before.
It's an unusual sight because base jumping in national parks is illegal.
Now, to be fair, it's super dangerous, right? A man just died while hiking. He actually ran out of rope. He was like a famous influencer and literally plummeted to his death. So, but hiking is legal. The point is that I'm kind of one of those types that's like, look, if you understand the risks, do what the hell you want. Just, stay away from the landing zone and whatever. But I understand why in these federal national parks, it would be illegal. Like, I get why they make it illegal, but also I'm one of those, like, do whatever the hell you want to do with your body as long as you understand the risks.
Charles Winstead captured this video while climbing Yosemite's 3,000-foot-high El Capitan, and it's just some of the unlawful behavior he's seen here recently.
Car camping, base jumping, drone activities. From what I hear, people are hiking Half Dome without permits.
Even with the federal government shut down, national parks are still wide open, but most of the staff is furloughed, which may embolden thrill seekers.
Wow.
Right in the middle of the...
All right, so there it is. They're all over there, base jumping, dodging drone attacks. It's a wild world, and that's the world we live in as the government continues its second longest shutdown of all time. Let's take a quick break, read some sponsors, and when we come back, I got more news for you. Today's episode of The Rush Hour is sponsored by Brick House Nutrition. We've all tried the fad diets over the years, juice cleanses, cabbage soup diet, raw food, etc. Doctors call it weight cycling. Half of Americans do it. And if you do it enough, you are at risk of diabetes, liver damage, heart attack, and stroke. Weight cycling is when you lose 10 or so pounds, but then you put the pounds back, plus a couple more. That puts tremendous strain on your organs and leads to serious health issues. Bottom line, most people need help to stop weight cycling, and here's a great way. Non-prescription Lean was created by doctors. Lean is an oral supplement, not a GLP-1 injectable, and the science is impressive. Its studied ingredients also target weight loss in 3 powerful ways. Lean helps maintain healthy blood sugar. It helps control appetite and cravings, and it helps burn fat by converting it to energy. And burning fat helps keep the weight off. If you want to lose meaningful weight at a healthy pace and keep it off, add Lean to your diet and exercise lifestyle. Get 20% off when you enter Rush Hour at TakeLean.com. That's code Rush Hour at TakeLean.com. Here's an interesting story we've been covering. This bailout that happened with Argentina. We gave them $20 billion and then upped it to $40 billion. And now we're actually finding members of the MAGA movement, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG. She's eviscerating those, saying this is not America first. She staked her reputation, whatever that is, on the idea that we need to make America first. We need to take care of ourselves before we start helping out other countries. I mean, we literally help fund wars in countries where the other countries have better social programs than we do. That's what we do. We're literally giving money to places without taking care of ourselves first. Now, maybe it's a false premise that we can only do one versus the other, but we're sure as hell dropping the ball on American citizens. We all know that. Here's what Marjorie Taylor Greene, or I said that this is the conversation around what she had to say. She said, Americans are getting decimated with high costs of living and skyrocketing insurance costs. Many of them have zero savings, and some are maxing out credit cards to survive. Tell me how it's America first to bail out a foreign country with 20 or even $40 billion taxpayer dollars. Listen, I understand a lot of people are very confused right now because they're starting to agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene, but hey, a point is a point. Have a listen.
Tell me how it's America first to bail out a foreign country with 20 or even 40 billion taxpayer dollars. How is this move America first, Mr. Secretary?
Well,
how smug does he look?
It is America first because we are supporting a U.S. ally. There will be no taxpayer losses. This is a swap line. This is not a bailout. And it is from the Exchange Stabilization Fund, which Treasury I control.
Tell me how it's a...
Does anyone, what words, stabilization, what is he talking about? We gave them money. And I mean, this idea that, well, they're an ally, so we should just give them billions of dollars is ridiculous. Canada was supposed to be an ally. We've pushed them so far away. They were like the reliable lover that we had, and we wanted something spicy, so we went down to Argentina. Now Canada's leaving us for something else. You know what I mean? So it's like, if we're really worried about allies, is this the way to do it? So I've got a couple of clips here, actually, I wanted to share about the White House ballroom. So they're saying it's going to cost $300 billion, or $1 million, right? 300 million. Either way, the point is, 300 million, sorry. The point is that there's, architects and folks that work in building going, these numbers don't line up. And I guess the idea is this money laundering? Now, this isn't money that's being spent by the American taxpayers, but, in one way or another, it is. This is money being donated to the ballroom from corporations that clearly are not being taxed enough since they have money to donate to a ballroom we don't get invited to. Have a listen.
I've just been doing the math on a $300 million ballroom, and it's not making any sense to me, and here's why. So I worked for several years in magazines, and for a big chunk of that time was architecture and design magazines. And so this doesn't make me an architect, but it means that I have spent a fair amount of time with the budgets and the layouts and the square footage of projects. And these were extremely expensive projects, right? These are the kinds of very premium design projects that wind up in architecture magazines.
Now, people are just commenting on this saying, yeah, it's money laundering. That's what it is. Now, if you want to make the claim that the money is going not just to the ballroom, but the bunker underneath, do we really want private donations to build a bunker for our president of the United States? Like, there's a reason why you don't let private money in, or you shouldn't let private money into certain things. Like, you shouldn't let private money into campaign financing, right? Because then it's like, are we even being represented equally and whatnot? It's a whole nother issue. But someone had commented, Alligator Alcatraz wasn't $450 million either, but that's what they said it cost, not to mention it closed right away. So how about that taxpayer loss? So either way, it's shady at best, that's for sure. Now, I mentioned before this sort of like fight the U.S. has had ongoing with Canada all year long, really, and the Ontario Premier Ford was asked about his anti-tariff ad. We covered this the last couple days. He posted an ad basically just sharing what Ronald Reagan said, which was long-term tariffs. And then Trump got upset and said, we're going to punish you with a 10% tariff, which again is a tax on the American side of things, the importers here. And either way, he was asked, like, why would you do something that ruffles the feathers with America? And here's his answer.
Oh, as we say, mission accomplished. It was done. They're talking about it in the U.S., and they weren't talking about it before I put the ad on. So I'm glad that Ronald Reagan was a free trader.
The Prime Minister was explicit today in saying that it was the ad that derailed negotiations which were moving ahead. With that in mind, why don't you feel you owe Ontarians an apology?
So they're saying he should apologize to Ontario because the ad that they aired derailed tariff negotiations.
For sticking up for Ontarians, well, let's talk about a so-called imminent deal. I've been hearing this for month after month after month, and if there's no mention about auto. It's about steel. The Americans are gouging us on steel, 50% tariff. We're at 25%, but nothing to do with auto. I am focused on, and I love the steel workers. I talk to Ron Bedard, CEO, every second day at Dofasco, supporting him, Algoma, up in Sault Ste. Marie, protecting jobs. But I'm here. My job is to protect jobs here in Ontario.
And of course, so, the whole idea behind this ad that they bought was to highlight how ridiculous these tariffs are. I think most people understand that the tariffs are a failure. It's one thing to have a targeted tariff to maybe make a better playing ground for certain industries, but just a blanket tariff on a whole country, it makes no sense. And Trump's whole premise for having the tariffs has something to do with the trade deficit, which again also makes no sense. They're arguing apples and oranges. Everyone who's studied any amount of economy pretty much understands this, right? So it's a big bust. And, everyone's got their different sort of reasons why they're rejecting what's going on out there, whether it be ICE, the tariff issue, grocery prices not coming down, real estate's too expensive, whatever the healthcare issues, everyone's got a different reason why they're kind of like pulling out in a lot of cases. Well, here's a UFC fighter suggesting Trump is the biblical antichrist and withdraws his support for him. Now, I think a lot of people, I mentioned this on yesterday's episode, just drove down to Florida and back for 25 hours of driving both ways. I didn't see one Trump sign in Florida. I thought that was very, very interesting. I live in outside of Nashville now. You don't see them anymore. I'm not saying he's lost his base. I'm saying people are quietly receding from the, and look, we've seen this with other parties and with other groups that have existed in the past where there's a big movement for something, and when it becomes a failure, everyone's like, oh boy, I wasn't a part of that. Well, that's what this UFC fighter is saying out loud.
Hey, I want to let y'all know I'm not with Donald Trump no more. I don't support him. I don't like him. I think he's a corrupted leader. And, it took me a while to come to that conclusion, but I finally am coming to it. I do not like the guy at all. The first thing for me was he didn't release the Epstein files. They're even acting like they didn't exist. And, of course, they're sending Israel and Ukraine all of our tax dollars, just like the numbnuts before him did. Putting America last. And now he's blaming the beef farmers for the price of beef. Hey, I'm not biased, man. He talked a good game. He tricked me. I was fooled. I admit it. Okay, now let me tell you how bad I think this is, though. This is really this bad, guys. I want y'all, if you're a Christian, I want you to get into Revelation 13:3, and I want you to read that verse. Yeah, about the Antichrist, about the one who was fatally wounded in the head. Then he was miraculously healed, and the whole world marveled at him and said, no man can make war with him.
Wow. So he really is. I was like wondering how are they going to imply he's the Antichrist. Well, he's pulling out biblical verses. Now, look, this is why I think we need to come together as a country. Now, you might say, well, you should have understood that Trump was all full of shit. Well, whatever. Maybe people did, maybe people didn't. Everyone gets news at different speed, right? But the guy's doubled his net worth. He's made billions of dollars for his family. He hasn't done any of the campaign promises. He's getting us into wars. He's blowing up, fishing vessels in the Gulf of America. He's doing all this, or the Caribbean Sea. He's doing all this crazy, crazy stuff. And it's not America first, period. It's helping out his buddies and tech leaders and securing the bag for his family for generations to come. And I congratulate people that are able to call it out and see it. Where is the Epstein files? Of course, he's told Mike Johnson they're literally doing everything under the sun they can to not release those files. I think it's fair and safe for people to say they were duped. And this might be annoying for people to hear, but the economy is in a weird place right now, right? The stock market keeps soaring, but people can't afford to pay their bills. So the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, and those poor, they're not going to take it without a fight. I'm telling you right now, they're not. The middle class, the lower middle class, greatest wealth disparity we've had since the Gilded Age, right? When we had the Rockefellers, the JP Morgans, and all the billionaire class with all of this excess wealth. And then we had a bunch of dusty-ass people heading to California so that they could dig for gold. A bunch of broke-ass people trying to buy a shovel so they could dig for gold. That's the world we're living in right now. As soon as we realize it's not left versus right, it's up versus down, as soon as we realize that and people understand that we're all getting hoodwinked, then we're going to have a little bit of a revolution on our hands. Here's an interesting clip here about what it means to be Christian.
Hey, what's y'all's favorite Bible story? Mine's the one where Jesus took the 5 loaves and 2 fish and kept him for himself and told all the hungry people to go get a second job.
Yeah, that's right. Jesus was a progressive, right? He wanted to help the poor. He wanted to feed them and help the sick and things like that. That's what it means to be progressive, right? To have a progressive tax code that helps people out so that they can get on their feet and be a contributing member of society. Don't be fooled by whatever sort of anti-woke stuff that they're going to try to talk about. It really comes down to Let's get medical costs down so we can all afford it. And let's make sure there's no starving kids. I mean, this is the bare minimum. You want to talk about paid family leave. You want to talk about child care and stuff like that. I'm all on board. Things that can help America become better. Things that the rich can afford. How about we all can participate in that lovely world? And that's what Zohran Mamdani is trying to do. One of the things he's trying to do in New York, and he will be the next mayor. He's just blowing it. His polling numbers are through the roof. No matter what they throw at him, he's just through the roof. He's an immigrant, and he wants things like he wants to sort of socialize paying for buses to make it so that your tax dollars already pay for buses so people can just get on and get off. It makes them faster. It makes them more efficient. He wants to do the same thing for childhood care so that you can go to work and not be broke. And he wants to do it by just a slight tax on the ultra wealthy, the people that are making a killing in New York. That's what he wants to do. And here's Adweek actually doing a little expose on Zohran. The voting is next week. I mean, he's going to win in a landslide. You know, say what you want about him. Have your opinions. It's a runaway train at this point. And here's Adweek describing how Zohran Mamdani really learned how to talk to New Yorkers and hear what their issues actually were. Have a listen to this.
We were in the Bronx, and Zohran was asking someone to ride the bus with him for like 45 minutes, and like 15 people turned him down. And then this one woman said yes, and we were on the bus with her. The bus is live, and he had this very engaged, like one-on-one interview for the duration of this woman's commute. And she said a line in that.
I used to love New York, and now it's just where I live.
I used to love New York, but now it's just where I live.
It was this organic moment. I actually just rewatched a lot of the raw footage, and she was so brilliant, but really was talking about affordability, talking about cost of groceries and the gentrification. She was from Harlem, lived in Harlem her whole life, and was talking really about these core affordability issues that became the template of this campaign and so many campaigns that will be going forward, because it is the most important and pressing issue in all over the country, and especially in the city.
And it's so, and I've been saying this over and over. The number one issue that people care about is the economy. And the way to put more money in everyone's pocket is to find ways to get everyone to thrive and be able to afford where they live. And with technology and AI and a lot of the new world we live in with social media, there's been a way that the wealthy have been able to extract more money, right? They've become more efficient. You know, everyone out there does 3 or 4 jobs just on their phone, and we don't make 3 or 4 times the amount of money we used to, right? So it's about kind of making it fair and equitable out there, and deporting a bunch of immigrants, whether they're here legally or illegally, if they're nonviolent, that doesn't solve anybody's issues. You know, this deportation campaign, it's not going to make groceries any cheaper. It's going to make them more expensive, to be quite honest, because our society was kind of complicated in the ways that the balancing act that existed between those that were here legally versus those that were here either on work visas or here as migrant workers and whatnot. It's complicated, and to disrupt it in the way that they have does not solve any of the problems. And that's what people are going to realize. They're going to realize that our problems only get solved by focusing on the middle class and building up that economy and making a place that's more abundant for everybody. That's what Zohran's speaking towards. And that's why people resonate with that. And that's what I think more people need to learn and run on. And that's kind of an exciting thing to see in an otherwise kind of topsy-turvy world out there. So why do we talk about this stuff? Well, we talk about it because, you know, the whole premise of the rush hour is get you to work and give you the core issues that matter. We try to be entertaining, but at the same time, there's so many conversations and people lying to your face from political slants that like people don't even know what to believe anymore. And when they're confronted with so many different perspectives, people kind of wash it all out and tune it all out. And we can't live in a world that does that right now. There's too much at stake. So my response to people that, you know, that are out there, don't be sold on fear. Be sold on the potential when we all come together and demand more from our leaders. And, you know, make the Democrats, make the Republicans, make them fight for your vote. In either case, don't succumb to voting for one candidate out of fear of the other. Vote for that candidate because they stand for something. That's why Zoran's winning. All right, that's it for the morning. We'll be back this afternoon. We appreciate you guys sticking around. Again, don't forget to subscribe. And if you listen on the audio, we're on Rush Hour with Dave Neal on audio, or here on YouTube with Dave Neal. So we'll see you this afternoon. I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.